Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Beach Talks. I'm Hina.
And I'm Sam. And yes, we are actually sitting on the beach right now. So if you hear the waves in the background, that's not a sound effect, that's real life.
It's honestly the best studio we've ever had. No rent, no traffic noise, just this.
Free vibes. Anyway, today's episode is a good one. We're talking about relationships and friendship, specifically how to tell the difference between people who are actually good for you and people who just take up space in your life.
Ooh, that's a strong way to put it.
Well, it's true. I think a lot of people confuse having a lot of friends with having good friends, and those are two very different things.
Completely agree. So let's start there. What made you even want to talk about this topic?
Honestly, a conversation I had last week. A friend of mine, I won't say who, called me up upset about a falling out with someone she'd known for 10 years. And it made me realize how long we sometimes stay in friendships just because of history, not because the friendship is actually healthy right now.
Yeah, that hits close to home. I think we're taught that loyalty means staying no matter what. Like leaving a friendship is some kind of failure.
Right. Like quitting a relationship is always the bad option. But sometimes walking away is actually the mature choice.
So let's break this down for our listeners. What are some signs that a friendship or relationship might not be as healthy as it seems?
Okay, number one for me, and this is a big one, is when you feel smaller after spending time with someone.
Say more about that.
So, you know how after hanging out with certain people, you feel lighter, energized, like you can take on the world?
Yeah, those are the good ones.
Exactly. But then there are people where after you hang out, you feel drained, maybe a little insecure. Like they made a joke that stung a bit, or they compared you to someone else, or they just talked about themselves the entire time and never asked how you were doing.
Oh, the one-sided conversation friend. We all have one.
We all have one. And look, everyone has an off day. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a pattern. If every single time you leave a conversation with someone, you feel worse about yourself, that's data. That's information you should actually listen to.
That's such a good point, because I think a lot of us, myself included, we ignore that feeling. We tell ourselves, oh, I'm just being sensitive, or they didn't mean it like that.
Right. We make excuses for other people's behavior instead of trusting our own reaction to it.
Okay, what's sign number 2?
Number 2, they only show up when they need something.
Ah, the convenience friend.
Exactly. You don't hear from them for months, and then suddenly they need a favor, or they need advice, or they need you to be their emotional support for a bad day. And then they disappear again once they feel better.
That one's tough because it's not always malicious. Sometimes people are just busy. Life happens.
Sure, and I want to be fair here. Busy is real. We're not saying cut off anyone who doesn't text back in 2 days, but there's a difference between someone who's busy but still checks in versus someone who genuinely only reaches out transactionally. You start to notice the pattern over time.
It's the difference between a relationship and a vending machine, kind of.
That's dark, but yes, you put something in, and only sometimes does something come back out.
Okay, what about romantic relationships specifically? Because I feel like some of this applies even more there.
Definitely. I'd say the biggest one in romantic relationships is respect for your boundaries. Not just respecting them once you draw a hard line, but respecting them before you even have to say anything.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Let's say you tell your partner you need some alone time after a long day before you can really talk. A good partner remembers that and gives you space without making you feel guilty for it. Someone who isn't great for you might guilt trip you or act distant and cold until you give in and engage anyway.
Right, so it's less about the actual rule and more about how they react when you set it.
Exactly. Anyone can say they respect your boundaries. The real test is what happens the moment those boundaries are inconvenient for them.
Number 2 for me is curiosity. A good friend or partner is actually curious about your life. They ask follow-up questions, they remember details. They bring up something you mentioned 3 weeks ago because they actually cared when you said it.
Ugh, that's such an underrated sign. When someone remembers the small stuff.
Right? Like if you mention your job interview is on Thursday, and then on Thursday they text you asking how it went, that's such a small thing, but it tells you so much about how much space you actually take up in their mind.
Totally agree. Okay, number 3 for me, and this might be controversial, is that they can handle you being upset with them.
Ooh, say more.
So, conflict is inevitable in any relationship, romantic or platonic. The question isn't, do we ever disagree? It's what happens when we do. Can this person hear that they hurt you without getting defensive, without turning it around on you, without making you feel like the bad guy for simply expressing how you feel?
That's huge. I think a lot of people confuse "we never fight" with "we have a healthy relationship." But sometimes "we never fight" just means one person has learned it's not safe to bring things up.
Exactly. Conflict avoidance isn't the same as peace. Sometimes it's just silence with resentment building underneath.
Okay, so now the harder question. What do you actually do once you realize a relationship isn't serving you? Because recognizing it is one thing, but acting on it is so much harder.
Yeah, this is the part people struggle with the most. I think step 1 is being honest with yourself first, before you even talk to the other person. Sit with the question, is this a pattern or was this one bad moment?
Because everyone deserves grace for a bad day.
Right, exactly. Nobody's perfect, and if we cut off every person who ever hurt our feelings once, we'd have no relationships at all. So step 1 is really just distinguishing between a moment and a pattern.
Okay, and if it is a pattern?
Then I think step 2 is having an honest conversation, if the relationship is worth trying to repair. Tell them specifically what's been bothering you, using real examples, not generalizations. Saying, "you always ignore me," is going to make someone defensive. Saying, "when I told you about my presentation and you didn't ask about it afterward, I felt unimportant." That's specific, and it gives them something real to respond to.
That's such good advice, honestly. Specific over general, always.
And then step 3, if the conversation happens and nothing changes, or if the relationship genuinely feels unsafe or exhausting even after you've tried, that's when it might be time to create some distance. And that doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be a big blow up or a dramatic cutoff. Sometimes it's just slowly investing less energy and letting the relationship become smaller in your life naturally.
I like that you said it doesn't have to be dramatic. I think people feel like ending a friendship has to be this huge confrontation. But honestly, a lot of the time it's just quietly stepping back.
Exactly. And it's okay to grieve that too. Even a friendship that wasn't perfect, letting go of it is still a loss. You're allowed to feel sad about it, even if it was the right decision.
That's such an important point to end on, actually, because I think people expect themselves to feel relief immediately, and when they don't, they think they made the wrong choice.
Right. Feelings are complicated. You can miss someone and still know that walking away was right for you.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's do a quick recap for everyone listening. What are the main takeaways from today?
Sure. Number 1, notice how you feel after spending time with someone. That reaction is data. Don't ignore it. Number 2, watch for consistency over time, not just how someone treats you in the good moments. Number 3, a healthy relationship can survive honest conflict. That's actually a sign of safety, not a red flag. And number 4, letting go of a relationship doesn't have to be dramatic, and it's okay to grieve it, even if it was the right choice.
Perfect summary. Honestly, this is one of my favorite topics we've covered because I think everyone listening probably has one relationship in their mind right now that this episode made them think about.
If that's you, we're not telling you to go end anything today. Just sit with it. Notice the pattern. That's the first step.
Well said. Okay, that's it for today's episode of Beach Talks. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend. Hopefully one of the good ones.
Ideally, yes. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.